I'm Todd Pappy, game director at God of War Ascension. What you're about to see is a making of video that we've been shooting over about 2+ years. It gives you a good idea of the inception of an idea all the way through to the final product. Keep in mind that this is a work in progress. Enjoy.
The three Furies are divided into the physical Fury, the mental Fury, and the soul Fury. The physical Fury represents physicality and is dangerous by virtue of her physical involvement with Hecatonchires and is just straight up bashing the shit out of Kratos. When I first started on the Furies, we didn't really have them broken down into the three, so I was just painting Furies. This was kind of an attempt at the sexy monster. I went for sparse clothing, but dangerous looking. A lot of that has to do with the pose and kind of the facial expression. Here she gets even more like kind of wicked. They didn't like any of these. They did like this kind of insect angel wing thing. So that's why I brought this image up. As a response to that, I started building her up. I kept some of the sexy elements, like showing some flesh, but also started giving her, you know, crazy deformations, weird muscles, big rib cage, pigeon-breasted, crazy claws, scary helmet, frowny face. These are all symbols of evil. And the more I played with her, the more she started to take on some aspects of the Impusa, but also she was doing her own thing. And I think in my head, my own personal mythology for her, this is the final design. I thought maybe it'd be kind of cool if like all of the really weird characters that we've had in the past maybe were birthed from the three Furies. So like the Sirens maybe came from Tisiphone, who is the mental Fury, and maybe the Impusa come from her. Here you can see, we'll go in for a little close-up. I hope you haven't eaten recently. This is the Suriname toad reference that I pulled. Look it up, Suriname toad, which is this toad. It has live births where it has eggs laid into its back skin, and then the little froglets, once they're of age, burst out of their mother's back and just leave this waffle-style, you know, English muffin holes on her back, and you'll never eat English muffins again, by the way, but it's disgusting. It's so gross. You have crazy bustier style armor, but every time you look, you're going to be punished. She's my answer back for Aphrodite on the last game.
She's basically the one that can go toe-to-toe with Kratos. She has like big appendages similar to Ares. She's a pretty tough chick. One of the first things we do is we create a rough gray mesh. Once that's approved, we can then jump back to the character and kind of really get into the anatomy. Like I'm at that point now where I'm starting to rough out some more interesting shapes and a little bit of anatomy into the crab-like appendages. Starting to think about how does the back work, as well as how the drapery works and just how everything interacts as a whole. One thing with her face that we've really been focusing on is in the concept, Izzy had really drawn her face where there's a good wide set area between the eyes, and I think that's kind of that fine line we were talking about between human and creature. So I really tried to capture that space between the eyes and have it to where it's believable anatomy, but it is also kind of an exaggeration of what normally would be there.
Kratos will have his first face-to-face moment with Megaeras at the beginning. There will be a torture mini-game that you have to win to break out from the prison. So this is like the first mini-game. It's a new style mini-game we're trying to do, so it's more intuitive. You just move the character like you are in the game.
The biggest challenge has just been interpreting the design. With any character, there's gonna be things that look great in concept, but then when we get them into 3D, how do they read in 3D? What does it look like? So that's one thing we're dealing with now. We just kind of have to roll with the punches and get it to the level it needs to be. Her face originally was extremely battle-scarred. It was almost too creature-like, and we wanted to kind of bring back a little more feminine quality. I just took the sculpt and I brought it into Photoshop and I just painted some different ideas. And we ended up going for something a little bit more subtle, and this is what we ended up narrowing it down to. So you can see that she's been into battle. Her eye is scarred, but it's not like a zombie eye. Her lip still has a scar on it, but it's not exposing any teeth. It's not a disability. We still get the story and the sense of history in her. In the actual final model, this is what you see. And then it goes down into the neck, and then we even carried some of those scars, you know, down into the legs. These are where the parasites live. You know, I tried to sculpt some that were like semi-closed, like a parasite was still living in them, and then some of them that were open. It'll take something that, you know, normally most men find very attractive and really kind of push the gross factor to it and really show that that's another area of attack. This is the final high-res asset. I tried to use brushes that would give a nice organic feeling, but then when you came to kind of crab, spider-like appendages, I wanted to have that material difference. This area, I wanted to feel a little bit more hardened, but then in between we have kind of that soft little bit. This is the character, what she'll look like in game. I like building monsters and brutes and stuff like that, so when I heard I had to do a female model, I was kind of bummed out in one sense, but then when I saw the concept, I was like, oh, it's this weird creature, super strong chick. It was a little bit more interesting to me, and this character definitely fit that bill, so that was nice.
Not to worry. I am quite skilled at teaching respect!
PlayStation